what would be the minimum standards, and that the enrollment continues to outpace what the building was designed for. Many of us remember that the building went through some level of a renovation during the period of 1989 to 1991. And that was the only work done in that facility since it was first built and opened in 1957, 1958. So a building that is approaching 50 years old. The work done at North Reading High School in the period of 89, 90, and 91 added a library, although under today's standards, a major portion of that library is used as a technology lab. And a number of the classrooms in North Reading High School were further subdivided, yielding smaller sized classrooms, but to keep the quantity of classrooms up. But since that time, classrooms have been converted to computer labs. They have been converted to special education space. And as I said, we have added 6 modular classrooms. And that's not to mention at our middle school, where we have added 10 modular classrooms to keep up with the enrollment. The 1989, 90, 91 addition and renovation of North Reading High School was built and spec'd out for a population of 540 students. And our population enrollment projections will be approaching 800 students. Therefore, it was my recommendation that we revise and resubmit a statement of interest for North Reading High School as the priority to the MSBA. And by doing so, there is absolutely no commitment, and I think that's actually in the wording of the motion, that must be read exactly, please read it exactly the way that I printed it, because the minutes of this meeting will be attached to the statement of interest, and it will be rejected if the minutes of the meeting do not cite exactly the way MSBA is asking that motion be read. So again, to summarize, it's important that we resubmit this so that I can get it in electronically by Friday, November 15th.
Dr. Trout, in looking at this motion, there seems to be at least a typo or two.
I apologize for that.
If you want it read
no, I want
exactly.
If you would correct those typos, and Mr. Delaney had sent me an email on that, that would be great.
Just confirm it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want me to read it? Or
Michael is going to read it, but you read it first.
But I'd be happy to take any questions if either the school committee or the board has on any of this. I want to thank John Bernard, our high school principal, Wayne Hardiker, our supervisor of buildings and grounds, members of the secondary building committee under Chuck's chairmanship, and many others who have worked, and the architect firm of Brad Dorr and Whittier, who have worked and already done a feasibility study on the high school. So we drew on a lot of that information. Just again, the changes in terms of the actual document, for each one of the indicators, they have added an additional question. And that's the question in terms of how has this indicator impacted, or how will it impact the program? The other questions are the same. What's the problem? What have you done over the years to mitigate the problem?
Mr. O'Leary?
Dr. Trout, just as there's been a change of focus, correct me if I'm wrong, as far as the school building authority in relation to, we originally were talking about, there was quite a bit of discussion in relation to a joint middle school, high school project, where the economies of scale may certainly bode well for the taxpayers and not in relation to shared library, shared cafeteria, but it appears as though the state is cut back on that type of funding for those types of programs. And that's why we have to focus on one facility rather than the two.
Well, I guess I would answer that by saying that by submitting this statement of interest, we're hoping to move to the next step. And the next step would be to have the state MSBA allow us to go through another study under their regulations, under their guidance. We're not, if we go through that study, there's still no guarantee that they would allow us to go to the next phase, which would be designing a solution to the problem. And so if we get to that stage, the solution, working with MSBA, I can't say what it would be. And it may come to that kind of a solution that we had previously talked about, or if you follow what's happening with current projects, basically they've scaled it way down. So I think at best we'd be looking at some kind of an addition to the current structure.
I was at that meeting with Mrs. Craven, and it was clear to me that they're urging school districts to go forward with additions and renovations whenever possible. But as David said, that would be after an assessment of what we have here. But they clearly are asking to scale back. So I think while that project, I think, had a lot of merit, I think it would be a pretty difficult fight to get something like that.
Mr. Harris.
Everybody sitting down? Mr. Chairman, I resolve that having convened in an open meeting on November 10th, 2008, the Board of Selectmen and the School Committee of North Reading, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, has voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest dated November 10th, 2008, for North Reading High School located at 191 Park Street, North Reading, Massachusetts, which describes and explains the following deficiencies in the priority category for which North Reading may be invited to apply to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future. The following priorities have been included in the statement of interest for North Reading High School. Number 1, replacement or renovation of a building which is structurally unsound or otherwise in a condition seriously jeopardizing the health and safety of school students where no alternative exists. Number 2, elimination of existing severe overcrowding. Number 3, prevention of loss of accreditation. Number 4, prevention of severe overcrowding expected to result from increased enrollments. Number 5, replacements, renovation, or modernization of the heating system in a schoolhouse to increase energy conservation and decrease energy-related costs. Number 6, replacement of or addition to obsolete... Oh, I apologize. Number 7,
It has to be the same.
I apologize. Number 7, replacement of or addition to obsolete buildings in order to provide a full range of programs consistent with state and approved local requirements. And hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting this statement of interest, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or the approval of an application, the awarding of a grant, or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the town of North Reading to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority.
Motion made by Mr. Harris. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Delaney. Roll call vote. It's Mr. Bowers.
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Venezia.
Aye.
Mr. Webster.
Aye.
Mr. O'Leary.
Aye.
Mr. Harris. Mr. Vino.
Aye.
Mr. Delaney.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Mrs. Walker is still not here.
None of your business. I think that's it.
Right.
Next item on our agenda is solid waste disposal agreement.
So members, you had...
Mr. Hanlon?
Gentlemen, good evening. Just as a point of reference, 5 years ago, we ended a 20-year contract with Wheelabrator of North Andover to dispose of our rubbish. When the 20-year contract ended with the Neswet Communities Northeast Solid Waste Committee's 23 towns, we renegotiated with Wheelabrator for the next 5 years. It was a very good contract in terms of the tipping fees. That contract will end in June 30th of 2010. The current members, there's 13 communities, post-Nesbitt communities, went out recently with an RFP that entertained Wheelabrator again and Covanta of Haverhill. We selected Covanta of Haverhill to save a lot of time. The contract conditions, provisions are the same. They're a mirror of where we were the last 5 years in terms of the communities and the vendor providing service. The last year, the tipping fee in 2010 will be $73 a ton. This contract will provide for in 2010 to 11, $67 a ton, and then $2 a ton thereafter going forward. $69, 11 to 12, $71, 2012 to 13, $73, 2013 to 14, and $75, 2014 to 2015. The contract also provides for an opt of another 5 years. We're not recommending that. However, KMP did advise us just to keep it there. We don't have to honor it. But it's the intention of all 13 towns that sign up that at the end of the 5 years, we would be in a position again to go out with an RFP. Where most of the communities that we're talking about are northern Middlesex and central Essex communities, so we're pretty central to some competitive vendors. And obviously with this 5-year contract, that's significant that there is competition. I'm asking the board tonight to allow the town administrator to sign a notice of intent to enter into a contract with Covanta for the period that is stated in this contract. Provisions for the acceptance of the contract are supposed to be in by 20 November. I don't believe that's going to happen for most of the communities. So we have constructed a notice of intent. Town council is actually excuse me, reviewing it as I speak. I would hope that by midweek we will have that ready for Greg to sign. And as far as the contract, if we can get it ready by the 20th, fine. If we can't, at least we'll be locked into this agreement with the notice of intent.
Thank you. Questions from Mr. Hanlon?
Just comment. It's a good deal.
Very good.
This is a very good deal. In
Very
relation to
good.
what we're currently paying, what we've experienced over the past several years, this is, let's say, competition is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and it's also, obviously, the numbers. There's the benefit of the community staying together. The post-Neswick really benefited us.
Great. Commend you on the effort
Thank you.
to make this happen.
So we need a vote.
Further questions? Mr. Harris.
Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize the town administrator to sign a letter of intent with Covanta to enter into a 5-year contract effective July 1st, 2010.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
Thank you.
Good day.
Yep.
On behalf of the Board of Selectmen and the school committee, I welcome everybody here to this public hearing. I'll just read the notice. This is regarding the fiscal 2009 operating budget. That's this year's budget. The Board of Selectmen will conduct a hearing on November 10, 2008, at 7:15 p.m. in the middle school large group room, Sherman Road, North Reading, on possible modifications to the fiscal 2009 operating budget approved at the April 7, 2008 annual town meeting. Interested residents will be given an opportunity to be heard. And I'd like to go through the presentation, and we'll poll questions afterward. We can go back to the specific reference slides. Ask the school committee, are you planning on making a presentation this evening too?
Yes.
You are. Okay.